as it looks like there might be one ankle injury more, ankle problem more to one of the big lads here for Cote d'Ivoire. Well, they might have substitutes, but the options begin to run out. And another quick glance at the men on the bench there, Ishmael Martin.
Well, the Simbin actually, these two.
Kone. Oh, yes, Simbin, sorry.
They just can't play because they've been shown the yellow card. For the next 10 minutes.
Very guilty looks about them, knowing that they have put the team in a bit of a predicament here. But it goes with the territory of the game. Some of these instances that, irrespective of how you look at it, will keep popping up one way or another. Yeah,
but of course they've got to get their act together, because if you're going to be taken off for 10 minutes, the two of you, and you just know how important your roles are and how it incapacitates the team. As Ivory Coast attempts to get a try here, but they are really pushed back.
Finding a stiff resistance, Ali Doumbia still have possession ground, trying to cut their way in, but that tackle nearly cutting Osman Coulibaly into half. They lose possession in that instance there. Senegal keeping it very, very tight. I shudder to think how it's actually a marvel that he's on his feet there, Osman Coulibaly, with that tackle that he just received.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel that he's really built for the fight here, clearly. That's why he can't take any kind of hit.
Well, for the lesser human, the ribs would now be singing the Hallelujah chorus.
Just tells you just how fit these guys are. With about 3 minutes, Elias Coulibaly signaling his bench.
So scrum it is with a little under 3 minutes left to play.
Not so much time left in this half. But I can tell you that the Ivorians are smelling blood, even with the numerical disadvantage that they found themselves in.
You know, you wonder when you get the opportunities, because you work so hard to put yourself in a position where there is an opportunity. But then the question becomes, when you have the opportunity and you're not able to utilize it, doesn't that derail you? Because they've been camped in this situation for quite a bit, but they've still not been able to make Senegal crack.
Yeah, penalty to Senegal as Ivory Coast collapse the scrummage there. And you can bet that Gusset is possibly going to be kicking for territory here to get the ball out of their 22. Just have got to make sure that they take the pressure to the other end.
Kick, big, now trying to find a way to race through. This is good play coming in from Osman Coulibaly. Seems to be a man possessed on a mission. Releases the ball.
That was a big carry by Osman Coulibaly there. You can imagine how much ground they have covered because of that run.
This is equally good play from Amadou Seko Traore. Setting it in motion, still trying to get themselves rolling on the forward ascendants. Issa Bassono nearly lost possession there, but they still have it. The Elephants. And there goes the hooter, and a drop kick attempted, but my oh my, that's the second time the ball is coming into play. How unlucky can you get?
Well, I'm telling you that Ivory Coast will be wondering why the luck has really eluded them. From the time they got that penalty and executed well through this man, everything else that he has tried to execute with his boot, it has just not worked out. That was very good intuition from him, but also the inventiveness, trying to take advantage of that opening, and still the ball just won't split the post. Second time he's hitting the post.
Well, they'll feel hard and done here, Cote d'Ivoire, with 2 pole hits of what could have been at least 3 points each. That would probably have taken them to 9 and closer to that gap. But for the moment, things just not working their way. And they are 2 men down, numerically disadvantaged, with a second half that is going to require them to dig deep and bring a bigger game forward. For Senegal, they managed to actually pin in a very solid game here. managing 2 tries in the attempts and managing to make their conversions as well. It's been solid goings, and they'll have to keep that grind going for themselves. Halftime at the Rugby Africa Cup at the Mandela National Stadium. It is Cote d'Ivoire 3, Senegal 17. Let's head to pitch side.
Injagala Luzinda, Injagala Bad Club, Injagala Fabiola, Injagala Kadada, Rebecca Kadada, Injagala Musisi, Jennifer Musisi, Injagala Sangalinyambo, Sumbi, the Royal Sumbi.
Right, we are back for the second half as soon as the break started. The scores are though Senegal with a comfortable lead against Cote d'Ivoire.
We're back at the Mandela National Stadium for the second half in this placement match in the Rugby Africa Cup 2025. Senegal with the upper hand, and they have the ball as well to start against Cote d'Ivoire, who finished off the first half 2 men less and trailing on the scorecard.
Well, of course, not the best of situations for the Ivory Coast, and they will need to make amends in the second half to try and see that they play a lot better than they did in the first half. So many handling errors, but also getting themselves sin-binned. It just shows you that there's been a lack of discipline from the Ivory Coast players, and they can ill afford to do that. Otherwise, if they continue on that kind of trajectory, then there's no chance that they can win this game. But a good start already by Senegal. Applying the pressure. Penalty goes to them. Get a feeling that Guissé will be, shot 9 will be kicking for touch there to try and see that his team can try and contest the line out close to the right in the 22. Good kick there from Guissé. Good position Senegal find themselves in here.
Line in, set to come through. An opportunity here once again to try and get themselves good spacing here. And Yusuf Yatera once again managing to pluck that ball clean out of the air. Opportunity to push. Try and press the issue here once again. Senegal inches away from the try line. Cote d'Ivoire still start off on the back foot here.
They need to tackle better in the second half. I just felt that the first half they were quite clumsy in the way they were tackling the ball. Right here, they've been saved by the fact that there's been a knock-on by Ivory Coast, rather by Senegal. It's going to be ball to Ivory Coast. And I can see that one of their front row players, that is Cote d'Ivoire, is back, and that is Thierry de Kone, the tight head, shot number 3, the one donning the black shorts. He's the outlier. I wonder why he's the only one putting on the black shorts. They just couldn't make a white short for him.
Well, could be his preference here. Might have something about those lucky black shorts. Senegal positioning themselves. Taking their time here as they prepare to get into that scrum. Referee making sure that everybody is in place and primed to go.
But I'm sure that Senegal are not really feeling the pressure here because they know that they've been contesting well at the scrummage. And all they just need to do is lock in well. And as you can see already, Ivory Coast almost collapsing it again there as they quickly stand up. I just saw there their captain, Elias Koulibaly, just raise his head up while his teammates were still pushing, and you feel that that in many ways disadvantages you, just messes up the whole process of scrummaging. And there seems to be some pain here that is being felt here by Ivory Coast Bossono. You could see him grimacing. And a line out, clearly according to the referee, the ball not straight, so it's going to be a free kick to Senegal. Things just don't seem to be going well for Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast. Yeah, they just seem to be having the real bad short end of the straw. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. A pick and a drive here for Senegal, but there's a player who is on the ground. And now they look to open up the spaces. This could be a potentially good chance. Mamadou Niang gets the ball, set on play, trying to get that ball pass. That looked like a forward pass, but... referee signals for an earlier infringement.
Yeah, tackling a man without the ball, so it's a penalty to Senegal.
The question
but
is,
I still feel that they had lost the ball in a manner that you felt that was quite careless. They are flowing so well, and then somehow the passing just doesn't go as well as it should be, and they almost lost the ball. And they've just been saved by the fact that there was a late tackle on somebody who did not have the ball, and that's why they got that penalty.
Now to deliver the ball. Well passed in.
Well, Senegal have done well on the line-outs by and large. A lot better than Ivory Coast have. And I guess that's why the scoreline also doesn't lie with this rolling maul. And that's a try.
Very swift off that. Well, that was some sublime skill from Willie Ndiaye to get himself his second try of the game. That was a blur of a human being. As he celebrates there very all too briefly.
Yeah.
That was something. That was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that he did get himself a try even against Namibia just the other day. Just look at how he picks the ball and then goes to the blind side as he could clearly see the try line there. That was good rolling maul coming in from Senegal. And then he picks the ball on the edges and then just flies in right there.
No one expected it, least of all. That gentleman there from Ivory Coast, number 18, Mamadou Konate, just wasn't certain. And then all of a sudden, bam, right at his feet. Just felt like he had let himself down.
Yeah, exactly. Senegal in such a prime position now for that fifth place playoff. They're doing the job.
Making sure that they put themselves in the best position possible. As in the meantime, there is a sin bin. Senegal having one of their own sent to the sin bin, and that's Fernandez Koera.
I wonder what he did there. The Lou said. And it is scoreline is 22 to Senegal.
No, stays 17 actually.
The try did not
like
stand.
The try was not allowed to stand.
I wonder why. It's quite interesting there. Was there an infringement or earlier infringement before actually he touched that ball down? Guess that's the reason why Fernandez Correa was sent to the sin bin. Interesting developments here. I'm sure that Senegal really feel hard done by the fact that that try did not stand, because I thought that they had executed it quite well. As you can see that there's even less pressure coming onto them from Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast seems to be waiting for them to approach them, and I just feel that Ivory Coast is really playing a dangerous game here by not going in early to tackle.
Willie Ndiaye beating one man, tries to beat a second. And releasing the ball. The referee.
Tackler not rolling away.
Yeah.
So it's a penalty to Senegal.
There seems to be a bit of a disagreement here between Ndiaye and Gasset. The fact that he wasn't releasing the ball early enough as well.
Well, the Cote d'Ivoire coach has, of course, Ismail Martin. I wonder whether he was substituted now permanently because he's not sitting in the sin bin anymore.
The Looks like at the end of the first half, he's one of those that had to give up his places. So it's a line out now for Senegal. Opportunity to feed that ball in, and it's Mustafa Ndiaye that will do the duties.
I just feel that the Senegalese will feel quite upbeat about the way the second half is going and about the way the game is going generally. They've just done well even on the line-outs, as you can see.
It looks like they want that scrum to come. And Cote d'Ivoire is not giving it to them, not tackling, so they're allowing themselves to keep moving. And the referee refusing to let that happen. They wanted to be tackled. Ivory Coast saw exactly what they were playing into and refused to let it happen.
Yeah, the thing is that he's now told them to move back to allow Senegal take a decision on what they want to do, whether they want to take a penalty kick here or they want to play for touch and contest the line out, and they've gone for touch.
We're going for touch now, and another line out. It will be here for Senegal, who have found their master weapon, being that gentleman Yusuf Yatera, who is yet to put a foot wrong in the line out.
Yeah, he's done quite well, I must say. He's done pretty well. And there just doesn't seem to be any contest coming in from Ivory Coast on the line out. And then the whistle goes, and this time in favor of Ivory Coast. Penalty awarded to them for an infringement by Senegal.
Finally, was, a chance at reprieve.
Guess it was wrong entry there coming in from Senegal, and that's the reason why the ball has been ceded.
Senegal once again in possession. Mustafa Ndiaye tries to drive a couple of meters forward. Good release from Gasquet. Almost lost here by Willie Ndiaye, but manages to retain. I shouldn't be moving like that at that size. Definitely quite as skillful as a dancer. And Momath Semo Diame. Senegal in ascendance. Ooh, Mamadou Niang. That was actually Nelson Mendy losing possession. And a chance here for the Elephants now to stomp forward. Well, just can't seem to find space, and now caught out here. Issa Bassano. Bassano once again.
I think it's been one of the more lively players for this Ivory Coast side, the shot number 12. Even though, by and large, you feel that his teammates have not really been in sync with him every time that he has had those major carries.
Amadou Sekou Traore still trying to force the issue here and inching themselves ever closer to the 22-meter line. The Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire trying to pound their way in. Boris Diomande, one of the substitutes who came in, but they lose possession. And now Senegal ignite a kick and chase. The ball bounces into touch.
Play will return. I think after there was an infringement on there's some medical attention that is needed.
The referee seems to signal that there was an infraction to the game and demands possession once again for Senegal. And looks like they'll go for the kicking tee this time. Or will they attempt to go once again for the try?
Well, I think they should take advantage of the opportunities that avail themselves. If it's a penalty and it's in good shooting range, you're better off taking the opportunity.
Well, it doesn't look like they'll heed that advice, and the ball is put into touch. So once again, to the scrum. They'll pit their energies against...
going for the line out instead. And they've done well in the line out. The only problem is that they've not taken advantage of them each time that they've got that ball.
Well, they'll definitely have to keep an eye now on that outreaching Yusuf Yatera, consistently picking that ball out of the air every single time. In the meantime, do remember that they are currently down to 14 men. That is Senegal, as Fernandez Coera is still out in the sin bin. there will be a substitution here. Should be a substitution as Momath Semo Diame is finally withdrawn from the game. He's suffered a couple of injuries in that first half. I was surprised that he managed to make it on to the second half. But looks like now he's run his socks dry.
Yeah, for 53 minutes that he's played, literally 54, I must, if you're rounding it off. I think that he's really given quite a good service to his team and putting them in the position that they are in at this particular time. Good job so far from Mammoth. Play seems to have stopped momentarily there. I wonder whether it's for a substitution or something, because you feel that quite a number of minutes that have been eaten up there.
Senegal managed to win that line out,
but
they lose possession instantly in the same breath.
Another knock on.
Referee lets play continue for the moment as that player finally released to the ground. And Ivory Coast looking to make an exit there with a box kick, but only as far as the willing hands here of the onlooking Yao Mamadou Ouattara. Lose possession here. Ivory Coast looking to gain momentum, and that's a knock-on, and that's handed straight the initiative once again to Senegal.
It's been the story of this Ivory Coast side. Handling errors have just been so many. I've lost count now. At a point where you feel that they'd a good opportunity to try and run at this Senegal defense right there, because you just don't feel that Senegal had kept a good line shape in terms of defense, and they still cannot take advantage and they lose the ball. It's quite disappointing, I must say, Jermaine. As of course the doctors come in to attend to Wilfred Hump-Cartin of Senegal, guy who got the first try for them.
Well, the energy levels at this moment should be waning, so might be timely to remind you that Rock Boom is Uganda's #1 premium energy drink, and it's bringing energy to the pitch as the official energy partner of the Uganda Rugby Union, taking unstoppable energy on the pitch and in the stands as our rugby warriors battle it out at the Rugby Africa Cup right here at the Mandela National Stadium. Come feel the power, test that bold Rock Boom energy, and let's cheer our boys all the way to victory. Rock Boom energizes your game.
Change made there by Senegal. Shot 17 replaces on the front row. So just replaced Mameth, who was taken off a short while ago. That's Leopold Leroy, shot number 17. Leopold takes over the position of the loose head. They seem to have shifted quite a number of players, Senegal actually. Can see the guy who was playing as number 8 previously. That is Wilfred Hump-Cartin, is now playing on the front row as the tight head. I guess sometimes it is always good to have versatility in your ranks, and that's something that Senegal can boast about.
Well, they do have a line out here.
You know, something funny, Jermaine, is that we've not seen Ivory Coast get into the 10. Have we seen them in the second half get into the 10 even of Senegal?
Hardly. And also yet to see them actually contest and win a line out in the entire game.
That's true. That's so true, by the way. It's really, and now the guy that had just been brought on has been withdrawn, and instead they brought a flanker on and returned a flanker. That's Abdel Karim Fofana. So I don't know what just happened to Leopold, who had just been introduced and now has been taken off. Could it be a tactical, maybe an injury?
Maybe a head injury, a head substitution, a concussion substitution. As the ball is now swiveled out onto the right and now battling their way through once again. It's the bulldozer in chief, Willie Ndiaye. Send the
should be a
tone
try.
out onto the flank. This would be a good move here from Nelson Mendy. Just inches away, still not yet on the button. Looking to pass.
Senegal doing a good job in recycling the ball, but also making sure that they get closer. I wish it was going to go as a penalty because there's wrong entry there by Ivory Coast. Mistakes keep piling up. Another penalty.
Meanwhile, Mustafa Ndiaye getting some bit of medical attention there. Looks like the big men today are taking a couple of the big hits, and it's evidently showing.
Absolutely. Get stuff at this stage. Really get stuff. This should be a very good opportunity for Senegal to get to that try line and also pick up that try that was cancelled a short while ago. Make up for it. I guess as the medics continue to do their job here on the field, player will ground to a halt momentarily until, because you see the player is in a position that as high risk. If play just continued, then they could easily clatter into him and his medic. That is Evrad Ulai.
Well, play resumes here, and Senegal looking to force the issue here towards the try line. And that's quite the carnage, a human carnage out there as bodies are flying all over the place. Setting the ball swiftly in motion now, trying to force the issue here. Senegal's Fofana releases the ball. Ball passed out. That looks like a knock-on. It will be a knock-on. That's the second one that Nelson Mendy is making.
What Senegal has said by the fact that there was an offside. You can see the answer. So it's a penalty to Senegal. They're just very, very fortunate here that there was an offside.
Seems very unhappy with himself, Nelson Mendy, and rightly so, because in the second half he's already had 2 knock-ons.
And this is the kind of position that you get into, and you've got to have your concentration levels as high as possible. You can't afford to lose the ball in that kind of area. There seems to be a hand signal here for a substitution. Senegal player injured. We'll get a confirmation. As you can see, I don't know whether his that leg seems to be hurting him.
That's Mustafa Ndiaye.
Yeah.
Well, he's already gotten a bit of medical attention earlier on, so not surprised that once again he is on the ground and requires some extra attention.
Yeah, and of course his replacement has already been prepared.
And will now bolt onto the stage. It's the return of Kaba Sise, who had been taken off earlier on and now returns.
Yeah, because the person that replaced him has got injured. That must be really disappointing for any player that has just come on as a substitute to be injured at the same time, if already making his mark on the game.
Well, the pick and drive is the ideal here. This time not just enough force behind it to force the issue as they try to drive here on the ascendant Senegal. Cote d'Ivoire manning the barricade pretty strongly. They look to pick and run, but the referee signals the fact that there was an infringement there. And once again, Senegal will have to keep their wits about them and try to make sure that they do get that try. As for Cote d'Ivoire, they're fighting for dear life.
The referee talking to the captain, Elias Koulibaly of Ivory Coast, I guess, to warn him about the way his players are applying themselves, and they are doing so many illegal things and not keeping on side. And the referee is warning that he'll probably dish out another yellow card if they do not keep themselves in check.
Well, they prepare now to once again make good use of this ball. And we'll just quickly remind you that Omo proudly sponsors the Rugby African Cup, and as the Ugandan teams battle mud and sweat. Remember, that is good, and Omo keeps your jerseys fresh. So join the excitement. Go Uganda, go Omo, unbeatable on stains.
I wonder whether they're just going to
looks like they decide to go for the kick. Try to preserve a bit of the energy levels there.
We take them to 20 points.
If they successfully executed.
Yeah, exactly.
If I've noticed anything in this game so far is that this side of the pole seem to have a mind of their own.
You hope that Meth Sal, this has been kicking well. At least the previous 2 kicks have been all successful. Should be able to split the poles from this range. He's got 19 seconds left.
Ameth Sal delivers that. Brilliant execution. And now 17 points difference here between Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire 3, Senegal 20.
Well, I'll tell you, Jermaine, it's a long time ago between the time when Ivory Coast got the first points on the board to this point that we're in. Remember, it was that penalty that was scored by Amadou Traore was in the 2nd minute. That is 58 minutes ago, almost an hour ago since they got any points on the board. Very long time.
Getting into the fray now is Senegal's Pape Bona Fall.
Another forward. Strengthening, I guess, as we can say, Wilfred Omkatin, the guy who got the first try, just trudges to the touchline here as he walks off following a very good shift that he's put in. And the touchline judge calling off a Senegal player apparently for not having the right wear. Guess he needs to change something here. So Senegal continue the play with just the 14 players.
Cote d'Ivoire will now have to press the issue and try to get into the ascendance. A bit slow on really putting themselves back into formation here. Cote d'Ivoire, as they put the ball into touch for a line out.
I'll tell you, Jermaine, I've surely not liked the body language of Cote d'Ivoire. When you're trailing by the kind of margin that they are, you expect that there should be a sense of urgency in their approach, but far from it. They've not really shown that hunger of wanting to get back in the game, of wanting to win so badly.
Well, now you have to really worry for them because drawing the short end of the straw in this particular match sends you straight into a shootout for survival for relegation.
Yeah.
And believe me, it's a place you don't want to be.
Yeah, 7th, 8th playoff, and that definitely puts you on the brink, and you don't want to be playing such the final day of this cup when you know that it is win or bust, because just puts the risk levels are so high, but so is the pressure. I just like the way Senegal has just bundled Ivory Coast off the ball. They've just bulldozed them out of the way.
And now they're on for a straight run. Demba Ken, you are asking about his presence. Well, he's here, and this is Mendy Nelson. Twisting one way, then the other, now runs into traffic. Still holding on to that ball. If he doesn't release it sooner than later, the referee could actually be sending it the wrong way.
Yeah, of course. I think one thing that gave him a bit of the reprieve was that he was being held on to. The opponents the tackler was still holding onto the tackled man, so that also helped give him some bit of time because he was being restricted from presenting the ball.
Well, play drawn back for an earlier infringement, and Lucas Gasset, one of those that's been really primed in this game, He's constantly been on his feet and at the heat of every action point. And matching that up with some very beautiful plays as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a penalty to Senegal again. I'm sure that at this point they feel that they are almost there. Get another try and you kill off the game permanently.
That's going to be the big lads here now who are going to have to bundle up here and prepare to take on Senegal. A ball nearly rolling away from them. They pick it up and try to drive the issue here. Pape Bonafal, who's just come on here, trying to impose his will. The referee signals that they'd already lost the ball.
Yeah, not releasing the ball while on the ground. Pape Bonafal. That's very unfortunate for Senegal. When you come this close, you've got to make sure that you make it count. But then they have lost the ball. Should have presented that ball, and maybe now they would be talking a totally different story. They've just got Ivory Coast off the hook with 16 minutes of play left.
Substitution here for Senegal, and it's Leopold Leroy who returns to the pitch.
Yeah, he was taken off momentarily. I wonder whether it was just a tactical decision. Now he returns. He had come on as a substitute, then he just didn't even spend 3 minutes on the field, and he was taken off. So I wonder what has changed now suddenly.
Line in here for Cote d'Ivoire. And once again, they cannot make the best of it, and that's a knock-on. Referee
But a
signals.
deliberate one, it looks like.
And that is something that, well, Cote d'Ivoire don't seem very happy about in terms of the proceedings and how things are turning out here. Gasset, once again, will look for the line out. Does just that.
Yeah, that's something that you feel that has been the operating approach for this Senegal team. Every time they get an opportunity for a penalty, they've just played for touch there to try and get the line out, get as close as possible to the try line. Unfortunately for them, they've not been able to, manipulate the ball well enough to get those tries, because if you count the number of times that they've been in that 22 and how close they've come to getting a try or two, right now they should have been a living daylight between them and Ivory Coast, but then you can see again they've messed it all up again.
Confirmation there, Abibulaye coming in to take the place of Osman Koulibaly, who's had a solid showing in this game. Shot 9. Definitely one who exemplifies the fact that there's definitely a big heart in that small body. He's definitely put in quite the fight here. Now we'll take a well-earned rest. The numbers slowly beginning to streak in. Plenty of empty seats out in here, but worry not, you get the feeling those will slowly but surely get filled in as the day continues to wear on, with plenty of fixtures up next. And of course, that midday fixture is one that's bound to have them quickly beginning to fill in. In about 20 minutes, Uganda taking on Morocco.
Yeah, of course, that is the reason most of them will be coming down. I'm sure that there's anticipation that Uganda does well, gets into that fifth place playoff game. They wouldn't want to see Uganda lose to Morocco. At least they wouldn't expect that to be happening.
Well, if the unthinkable does happen, then Uganda would be straight into that shootout here against relegation. And again, I will say it at the risk of sounding like a broken record, not a place you want to be.
Not at all, by the way. And I'm sure that Uganda, being the host team, they will come in to the game all guns blazing. They've got to try and make sure of that.
The sun is also slowly making its presence felt here, so at the moment, quite pleasant weather to sit out there in. A bit of cloud cover, so not exactly scorching. Makes one interesting preview here as Gasquet is ultimately withdrawn from the game. He's played his game and, well, you can definitely have no grudges about his performance.
He's really done well, especially with the kicking for touch and how he's kept rotating the ball. I think it's been impressive.
Scrum here for Senegal. Asane Diaye with the ball. And now feeds it into the scrum. Passed on. Asane tries to release that ball quickly. This is a good tenacity on display from Senegal. Ooh, excellent footballing skills. Kicks that ball, tries to chase it, but that was a bit of a heavy touch there from Ousmane Soma. Well, creative, you have to give him that, trying to make the most of what he had.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, just had a heavy touch to that kick and put the ball out of bounds.
Yeah. I think there was that real eagerness on his part to try and put the pressure on Ivory Coast, and he did not calculate the weight that he was putting on the ball, the pressure that he was putting on the ball, and in the end, just overdid it. Would have been a very good opportunity to put the icing on the cake with a try to take that would take Senegal to 25 points. It's now about 10 minutes to play, Jermaine.
And Senegal still running riot here as they have possession. Nelson Mendy brought to the ground, still trying to carry themselves into that 22 area. And the referee signals a foul.
Yeah, Senegal is actually, there was holding onto the ball again by Papa Paul there. I think is that his teammates not coming in time to rack the ball, and that means that it exposes him to the ball being taken away by the opponent. So what he instinctively what he has to do is hold on to the ball, and which is also wrong. You've got to present the ball to keep the ball flowing. And if he can't do that, then definitely it's going to be a penalty against Senegal.
Well, be your own investor with MTN Momo. Invest as low as 1,000 and earn interest daily. Now, you can withdraw your money anytime you want with no paperwork needed. Simply dial *165 *6# and select your investor or use the MTN Momo app. Line out. And Senegal, once again, the beneficiaries, as they have been multiple times in this game. Pick up here and trying to force the issue from Leopold Leroy, who's returned into the game. Senegal, nearly losing that ball, but Nelson Mendy able to pick up the pieces and still holding on to possession, trying to shrug off all opposition. Plenty of handoffs there from him. Leroy goes to the ground. Senegal right past the halfway line and now back into their own half. Cote d'Ivoire yet to see the 22 area of Senegal in this matchup. It's pretty fair to say this has been largely a one-sided affair.
Yeah, especially the second half. You just feel that Ivory Coast have really been second best in many ways. Just look at that. They just knock on the ball again. It's been mistake after mistake, and at this level you can't afford to do that. Some real big ball carries there by Senegal. But you can see that they've really been the better ones. And now instead there was not releasing the ball, and so it's a penalty and goes to Ivory Coast. Can they get into the 22 for the first time?
We're looking to make a clean break here and quite close to the finish line, but still not enough. Ismail Nakanabo finally getting to put in a bit of a shift here. We were wondering when he would come to play. The end.
Just look at that as he goes down. As he's holding onto the ball. Clearly. Got to present the ball, so it's penalty.
To Senegal.
Again.
Should be painful here for Cote d'Ivoire. This is going to be a gut-wrenching loss for them, given the way things are going at the moment.
Yeah, the ball had found itself in a very good position for them to try and bounce, especially for the man here walking in your picture there, Basono. Must feel gutted. Just look at how he picks up the ball and then spots the gap and run through it. And you can see he's running past the front rowers who just do not have that pace to match his.
Well, if you do find yourself in quite a bit of a fix, do remember that you can get yourself funded with some logbook financing where you can borrow money using your logbook courtesy of Platinum Credit. Just go ahead and dial *249# and that will definitely get you started to get you that money and get you out of that fix. Ball nudged off. And seeming to signal here for a line out.
Yeah, I think that right now what is happening is that Ivory Coast are just in damage limitation because they just don't seem to be showing that kind of urgency as well to try and get back into the game with the 8 minutes left. Guess they've resigned to their fate. And here are the Zimbabwe fans already in the building, looking forward to that tie against Kenya, the last game of the day.
Very early, but very prompt as they will seek a way to get into their third Rugby World Cup. But that will be for grand dreaming for Saturday. They have to get past the Simbas tonight first.
It's going to be a big game, definitely.
And of course, the other side of the equation will also have Namibia taking on Algeria. One of the games that you can anticipate. Speed will be an understatement.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of tactical play. You expect those two teams who are in the semi-finals again last year, Algeria making it to the final and losing to Zimbabwe. So they've got the experience and the quality. There's another. There was a knock-on, but then there was an earlier infringement earlier on. I guess there was a wrong entry, so it's a penalty to Senegal.
The clock steadily ticking away, and now we're looking at just about 6 minutes or so left to play.
So at this point, you think Senegal are likely to go for poles?
Well, the bodies are definitely waning in terms of energy, but you also get the feeling that
Sal
Cote
is
d'Ivoire are
already
just
there.
playing to finish the game now.
Yeah.
They realize it is one of those scenarios where the body is pronounced dead before it hits the ground.
I guess that is the actual situation that they find themselves in. As the seconds continue to tick away. Opportunity. As Sal has got 20 seconds to get this penalty split in the poles. But I guess that on account of how many points he's been able to secure for this Senegal side, is probably be close to being the man of the match. And yes, he does that. It's 23.
And they score, slotting a penalty to increase.
It's 23-3. So it's a 20-point game. As Senegal get that penalty and they execute it well, it's now 23 points to Senegal and 3 to Cote d'Ivoire. With 5 minutes approximately to go. This could be the second time that Ivory Coast get into the 22 of Senegal. Remember the earlier one by Bassono, that run where he was tackled before he could get to the try line. Big disappointment, I'm sure, on their part that even for the few opportunities that they've had, even with the kicking, they've just not been up to the task. Since they got the first points in the second minute, Cote d'Ivoire have not been able to add to it.
You would wish that they have time to actually galvanize themselves, but there's going to be quite a bit of soul searching that they have to run through Cote d'Ivoire. And
you know, the Cote d'Ivoire find themselves in a situation where they scored, they have their consolation points fast in the game. I don't know whether that kind of scenario ever arises where you score the consolation first.
What you thought would be the cornerstone ends up being just the consolation.
Consolation.
Well, steadily making their way towards the arena are the Uganda team head coaches, or the Uganda coaching team, led there by Fred Mudola and, of course, Leonard Luvambula, as well as Marvin Odong, just past our commentary booth, because Uganda is up next against Morocco. That game coming your way at exactly noon, which, let's put in perspective, is 13 minutes away.
Yeah, and I would imagine that this should be the kind of condition that Uganda won't be faced by, because they're used to playing under this kind of scorching heat. I wonder what would be the case for Morocco on the other hand.
Not sure it has actually gotten to scorching just as yet.
Yes, but it's pretty hot midday. Pretty hot. So you wonder whether Morocco, on the other hand, will find it easy under the circumstances. As Ivory Coast now trying to get added points there, but then penalty to Senegal because Ivory Coast went on the ground and didn't release the ball.
Look at that, just so close once again to the try line. It's become something that has become more of the norm. Close, but not quite.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed. I'm sure that when they get back to that locker room to reflect on this game and watch it again, they will be disappointed by the way they applied themselves generally.
Well, there'll be no qualms at all here for the team Senegal. They've definitely been able to work their performance to excellence, and it's paid off dividends for them at 20-point margin for now. And it will be one that will definitely boost them and galvanize their bruised egos from the first game to actually get them once again on the track to chase that 5th place playoff.
Yeah, that's true. Clearly, when you've won the game in the manner that they have, I'm sure that they will be encouraged by it. But by and large, I also think that Senegal have also made so many errors.
Nelson Mendy making the run. Nobody will be able to catch up with him here. And he gets what might be the final try of the game. Had a couple of issues earlier on in the game. Had a couple of handling errors. But now Nelson Mendy makes sure that it's an unassailable lead. It will take anything than just a miracle to actually prevent Senegal from winning this game right now. It's done.
Yeah,
it's done and dusted.
Clearly. As you can see again, the things that we've been talking about regarding this Ivory Coast side, the clumsiness in their approach. Just look at how they give the ball away straight to Nelson Mendy. And Nelson Mendy, all he has to do is showcase the pace that he has to burn. And he runs through the gap and just goes and touches down there, giving them those extra points as the hooter goes as well. Not more to play in this game.
Little left in this, as this will definitely be the final act of this particular one. The kick once again hits the upright. Well, this post or these poles have had a mind of their own, and once again give us another thriller just to wrap up this particular game. And it's Senegal that will march on to the 5th place and attempt to probably finish in 5th place here. But for Cote d'Ivoire, a disappointing collapse after what looked like a steady beginning to the game. And now they'll have to galvanize themselves and prepare for Saturday, where they will fight for their right to remain within the top flight or with the top boys, as a relegation straight shootout will ensue with the team that loses the next match. It's been hard fought here, but at the end of the day, only one can emerge as victor, and it will be Senegal that do count themselves victorious here. Full time at the Mandela National Stadium at the Rugby Africa Cup 2025. It's Cote d'Ivoire 3, Senegal 28.
After both teams get onto the pitch, I will of course ask everyone in the stadium to stand up and respect.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Bienvenue, mes amis. Bienvenue, messieurs et madame. This is the 2025 Men's Rugby Africa Cup, and we have the second placement match between Morocco and Uganda.
Right, and that's it. Next up, the anthem of the Republic of
the anthem
Uganda.
of the home team, the Uganda Rugby Cranes.
Right, and that is the end of both anthems. And now time for
Les
battle.
équipes dans
This is
l'Afrique
how both teams line up, starting from Morocco.
pour le Coupe continentale de l'Afrique. These are the best teams in Africa playing for the African title. But unfortunately, we are at a point where they are now just going to be playing for positions, Uganda and Morocco. First, we get a look at the beautiful Mandela National Stadium on the right with a backdrop. And before then, we get a chance to see what Morocco have to offer to the Rugby Cranes. They begin with Amin Bukanusha at the number 8 position, and then working forward to the front row is Nassim Anikid, Karim Kawoti leading their charge from there. On to the Uganda team.
Wycliffe Santos centers up, begins at number 1. Then we have Nathan Wambale, Fahad Maido. Of course, the change there will be Conrad Wandera at number 9 and William Mukori at 10. And we're also seeing Joseph Jadwongo Aredo switching to number 12, while Adrian Casito and Philip Okorach will maintain their positions. Timothy Chisiga gets a start at the number 11 slot. So we are waiting for action, anticipation, and the fans in full voice. The cheerleaders there, you can see it is a very, very action-packed atmosphere here at the Mandela National Stadium. And we have kickoff.
Morocco go long and deep into the Uganda territory, but it is well received and fielded by the Rugby Cranes. Rugby Cranes in black, playing from right to left on your screens. The Atlas Lions in full red. It's going to be a beautiful contrast of color, no confusion about who belongs where. But most importantly, it's going to be a proper battle for that 5th place finish between these two teams. Former giants of Africa, Morocco winning it twice, and Uganda having won only once. This is the 5th place playoff semi-final, and Morocco are attacking strong now through Adir Ashbar, the captain, on the right flank. Well recycled. The centers now in action now. Fal El Kadri playing halfback. Teo Bachiri picks, goes to the big man. First is Karim Kawuti, then to the short side, Morocco plugging. Unfortunately, it bounces out of the hands of Nail Ait Nasser, and it's going to be the first handling error of this game. Alan Musoke, what a start from the Atlas Lions.
Oh yeah, we actually saw them also have a strong start against in their quarterfinal, and they always come out all guns blazing. And it's Uganda being pegged back early as the fans try to rally their team on. This is going to be the first test of a set piece as the ball comes through the hands right there, and so it's going to be a little bit intense. It has to be a good clearance kick here from Uganda to get out of trouble.
First set piece, we get to see Santos Sentes and Nathan Bwambale and Fahad Maido go up against Nassim Anikid, Karim Kawuti, and Nassim El Yumuri. Huge forces to reckon with as more dignitaries continue to arrive at the Mandela National Stadium. This is a 12 p.m. kickoff, as early as it can get. And the fans are beginning to fill in the stands. Wanyama feeds. Look at that pressure from the Morocco front row. Wanyama has no choice but to lose it to his opposite number, Teo Bachiri. But the referee had already given that scrum penalty. What pressure coming in from the loose end.
And again, the quick start there. Morocco trying to get the Uganda off their paces. They held up, and that is a moment of reprieve there for the Uganda Rugby Cranes, who have began slowly. We talked about them having a good clearance kick early, and they failed to get the ball out of the scrum in good time. So it's going to be a contest there for the pack. A chance for William Mkore to possibly make some amends and get us. Oh, no.
I think the try was scored. Initially, the referee had said held up, but I believe on confirmation from his outside number, his assistant rather, on the touchline, the try was good, scored by the number 9, Teo Bachiri. Conrad Wanyama handed him the ball, and Bachiri, quick restart, caught the entire Ugandan team napping. Morocco strike first in just minutes, just 3 on the clock, and they already have 5.
Yeah, that's again very worrying. It comes again down to the starts that the Uganda Rugby Cranes have been experiencing over the last couple of years. Start slow, and then, but again, it's not surprising because Morocco actually scored fast in their quarterfinal game as well. So let's hope the Uganda Rugby Cranes can now have a chance to put the ball down to the far side to the Moroccans and then get some position to play.
Conversion by Nofal El Kadri, and he strikes it beautifully. Morocco now have a full complement of points. The flags go up. 7-0 it is. They lead against Uganda with just 4 minutes played. But look at that quick restart. Ball is transferred quickly. Actually, it was Adir Ashbar, the number 10, picking it from his halfback partner, and he grounds the ball. Nothing the Rugby Cranes could have done. Sidney Gongodo is in there. I think the other player is Frank Shidega, attempting to hold him up. Referee says held up. But on looking at his assistant referee, he awards the try.
And then that's a good restart. Ian Munyani able to convert, and that gives the Uganda Rugby Cranes quite some ball to play with. And Philip Okorach, of course, stepping and able to avoid the attentions of the first defender.
Fahad Maido with Julius Opio, the two Ginger Hippos teammates. Now Conrad Wanyama to William Mkore. Timothy Chisiga, a Uganda Sevens link up with the captain Ian Munyani on the outside edge. He's running beautifully, Munyani. Now Chisiga, long ball out. Santos Senteza had numbers aplenty on the outside. He decided to take it into contact. Quick ball, Mkore now. Joseph Aredo played number 10 last week, is now in the midfield at 12. Wanyama picks. Julius Opio cleared beautifully by Fahad Maido from the breakdown. Kore looking for options off the boot, decides to carry it to contact, brought down by Nassima Nikid, and Morocco have been caught offside. Uganda are beginning to play. They want a quick response against this Morocco team.
Oh yeah, and if you realize the restarts are very quick, and it's an advantage, of course, that the half-back pairing of Conor Wanyama and William Kore have played for a considerable amount of time together. So I bet that continuity is going to be very, very important because they do understand how each other plays. And Uganda points to the posts, and Philip Okorach will be given a chance to make amends off the boot, just try to reduce this deficit from 7 points And if you notice, it has actually been that moment and phase of play where William Corey thought about the kick and managed to keep the ball in hand. And for me, that's the strategy I think we need to deploy. Keep the ball in hand and work it from side to side.
Philip Okorach took too long with his first attempt for points in the match against Kenya. He will have learnt his lessons. He has 25 seconds on the clock, plumb straight in front of the uprights. Uganda looking for a response through their star man, Philip Okorach. He sends it long, drives it straight, but it is to the right of the mark, and another opportunity for Philip Okorach. At first opportunity for points goes begging. He scored 14 points on the first day on Tuesday, is the second top point scorer after Ian Pryor. But that first kick is one that he usually needs first get out of the way. Then he can get into his groove.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that they are going to still keep the confidence in him as a kicker, because we know and the restart is gathered there by Pius Ogena. The setup is good. Conan Wanyama a little late to get to the breakdown, but hands it over to that placement was a little bit worrying because it scrambled out. It was William Corey, who had a stellar season, clears it, and that is a brilliant piece of play there at the chip. Is good. But Adrian Casito, we all know, is very confident under the high ball. The support play not coming through quick enough, and that's another turnover by Morocco. They have actually piled the pressure onto the Uganda Rugby Cranes, making it quite hard for them to have some different phases of play.
Brilliant exchange between these two teams, Morocco and Uganda. Morocco having the edge early on. It's just 8 minutes on the clock. They have 7 points. Uganda's crack at it by Philip Okorach sailed wide. There's lots and lots of confidence in this team, who came from the Rugby Africa repechage, but unfortunately fell to the defending champions. It was always going to be inevitable and a tall order for Morocco to come up against the defending champions, Zimbabwe.
So just
line out now.
Yeah, looking at the first set piece, and let's see how the Moroccans shuffle their changes, and they managed to get the ball into hand, flick pass off the chicken wing, and Morocco attacking vigorously, goes back the blind side. Luparan pass playing with the outside defender. That ball doesn't get to hand, and with the restart, and still edgy, it still gives the Uganda Rugby Cranes a chance to play at about the 10-yard line. It will be interesting to see how they manage to get over the line, because the lineouts are working out well for Morocco. At least the first one did. They got the ball into hand. Let's see what the Uganda Rugby Cranes would do. Nathan Mambale did not struggle particularly against Kenya. I think lost only 2 out of like 8 or 9 of them. So it will be interesting to see how that line out is shuffled now. Santos Centers are giving the directions and waiting for ball in hand.
Wambale goes to Julius Opio. Uganda opted for the maul 4 times in the line out on Tuesday. They now go first line out, same strategy, and they have won their penalty for collapsing. Looks more like side entry at that breakdown, and Bilal Fadil has to get clarity from the center referee on which direction is good for him to get into that breakdown. Philip Okorach will be pushing Uganda from their own half deep inside the Morocco territory for another line out. The stands are looking colorful and full of MTN Momo in yellow, who are saying be your own investor with MTN Momo. Invest as low as 1,000 Uganda shillings and earn daily interest. You can withdraw your money anytime you want. No paperwork needed. Simply dial *165*6#, select investor, or use the MTN Momo app. Joseph Aredo now with an injection through the midfield. Wanyama picks. Switch play that we saw Uganda concede against Kenya. They've used it through Julius Opio. Wanyama looking for that quick ball. Slow. Aredo slotting into that number 10 position. Goes to Munyani. Munyani carries his midfield partner, setting up on the outside edge. Nathan Bwambale is in there to secure that track, and Frank Chidega has lost that ball forward on the angle. Advantages to Morocco. It's cleared by Teo Bachiri. Casito is chasing. That's looking like it's going to be a brilliant 22. The bounce of the ball keeps it infield. Casito under pressure. exits, bouncing on, still on. Now the counter-attack from Morocco through the numbers. It's through to the midfield. Nafur El Kadri to the winger. Open space. Younes, who has a man on the outside. Well tackled by Timothy Tsiga and Joseph Aredo, and the ball is lost forward on the floor. Morocco, brilliant attack. Uganda, breathtaking defense.
Yeah, well, what a phase of play there. From attack to defense, the ball is spilled forward, and then before you know it, you are scampering. Byron Oketayot there, left for dead, but Joseph Aredo rescuing the blushes, and that tackle then does and brings a hold to another attack for Morocco. They are getting inroads into the Ugandan players, and one of the things that we've seen is they're kicking far and they're kicking deep, and so which means we, the Uganda Rugby Cranes, have to recycle it a lot quicker and a lot faster. Also fine touch, because once the ball is kicked and doesn't go into touch, then you will have to worry about the counter attack.
Coach Nolis Maraish will need to figure out solutions, because the first scrum had a lot of pressure being applied on Fahad Maido by Nasim Aniki. Conrad Wanyama will have to be quicker. That first try was considered off a scrum penalty. Kore is in the pocket looking for that quick ball so he can exit, but first there's going to be a reset of this scrum. And the point of contention, I believe, there is on that tight head for Uganda, loose head for Morocco. Alan Mosoke, what's the referee looking for on this scrum at that front row?
The front row is actually meant to hold up the 8 men, so that structure, or what the scrum as we call it, can be able to be balanced. So he's looking at proper binding. He's then looking at both teams being able to support the scrum and a good forward push. There again,
Fahad Maido feeling the pressure. He collapses under Nasim Anikid. The restart is done quickly. Amin Bokanusha driving towards the uprights. Then the recycle from Karim Kawuti. Ball is available for the backs to use through the hands. Look at those numbers on the outside. Philip Okorach makes that crucial tackle. Yasin Mamri brought down by Ian Munyani. The forwards attacking the backs. Look at that short line off the shoulder. Morocco are back. Mamri with the second carry. Mamri with the second try for Morocco. They keep coming, the Atlas Lions, and the Rugby Cranes are unable to stop them. What a try from Morocco.
Yeah, that again was the forward play that we talked about in the build-up. They have very strong forwards who are just pummeling, and the battering rams are being sent to the Rugby Cranes. From my side, I see it has to just be chop tackles, bend the man down and let them rack. And at the end of the day, we need to get numbers across and numbers wide so that we can be able to stop the man. So they try to hold him up, and he just pumps his legs, has the upper body strength to get through. And what a try there from the big man from Morocco.
Yasin Mamri beats Byron Oketayot and Pius Ogena, 2 men against 1. He's too powerful, and he doubles Morocco's lead. This is going to be Naufal El Kadri's second attempt at the uprights. And he makes no mistake. Morocco 14 points on the board. The clock reading 14. Uganda are being caught unaware in the sun here at the Mandela National Stadium, Nambole. What a start from the Atlas Lions.
The Moroccans have surely brought it, and so that means they are pegging the Uganda Cranes back. They are using all the different tactics that they have. That we've seen the ball being flung out wide and them getting some inroads into it. We have also seen that they are using their big men as expected. There needs to be a realignment in the defensive lines for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. There has to be a quick change of guard, and the forwards then have to do a lot more work to keep the Atlas Lions out. It is 14-0, and Morocco seems to be flying into this one.
Morocco and Uganda are the only 2 former champions not playing in the Cup semi-finals. Morocco have won this trophy in 2003 and 2005, and they are running up against the 2007 champions. Pius Ogena chasing Hussein Younes, but who throws a loose pass that is chanced upon by Santos Senteza, who offloads it to Conrad Wanyama, and it's a slow set with Ian Munyani looking to play halfback duties. He is searching for options on the short side. Referee urges him to use it. It goes to Frank Chidega rather, and Frank Chidega has been robbed in broad daylight, but that rip was done illegally as he had already found a knee to the ground.
That is indeed the second handling error that Frank Chidega has had in contact. He just needs to get his hands and his head back onto his shoulders, because we know he is a steady ball carrier. We have seen him play in the league, that he is as good as it gets when it comes to getting the team the forward momentum. So Frank Chidega just has to get his work rate up. Another line out here. We saw the first one work to perfection for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Nathan Wambale finding Julius Apia at number 2. Let's see how they restructure this one.
Wambale to throw. Has a couple of jumping options. Goes to the back looking for Pius Ogena, but it's not well gathered. Karim Kauti finds it. Now through the backs, the converter, Nufal El Kadri. Now the running loop on the outside in Ilian Eliayawi. The Moroccans have advantage. They are outside the Uganda 22 with a free play. El Kadri. What a fend from Nassim El Yumuri. To the back door, El Kadri. Now the captain, Ashabar. Timothy Chisiga is up against Yunus Hu, and Chisiga kicks it into touch in goal. Yunus Hu makes the appeal. Actually, the captain, Adil Ashabar, makes the appeal that it's cynical play, but the ball came off the foot, and it's going to be scrum 5 for Morocco. Uganda are leaving dangerously in this opening first stanza of the game. Barely 20 minutes played, and Morocco are piling on the points, are piling on the pressure.
The Moroccans then had a choice whether to take the penalty back to the initial position or have a scrum down here. They have actually chosen the scrum down at the 5-yard line. Official time out there for the injury. It is indeed worrying times for the Uganda Rugby Cranes, because the Moroccans are piling the pressure and they are finding the gaps. That was a quick switch. If we take it back, it was a quick loop off at the far side on the wing, and that gained them the ground. They are using their hands very well. In terms of defense, the Uganda Rugby Cranes now have to wrap both the body and the ball to avoid that continuity that the Moroccans are getting off the offloads.
Those are the answers that Uganda need for Morocco's questions. The two teams met thrice in the past, Morocco winning the first 2 encounters. But the one that will be most memorable is in 2018 in the Rugby Africa Gold Cup, where Uganda beat Morocco by 47-29. The tides have since changed, and Morocco are now a big team and a force to reckon with here. In that match, over 7 players on the Rugby Cranes team played in that game, but only Samir Now of the Moroccans was on that pitch. How times have changed for Morocco. Uganda still riding that high wave from the late 2010s. Now the scrum. Amin Bukanusha looking to play it at his feet. Referee says the ball should be used. The pressure coming in from Uganda responding. They have the advantage and the full scrum penalty. Look at Byron Nuketayo's celebration as his front row finally respond.
That indeed is a show of power and a show of precision. The park finally getting it together. Maybe it's a case of now fatigue creeping into the Moroccans, but that in itself is a very, very big statement on how the tides can quickly change in a rugby game. The first scrum down we saw, we have given away 2 scrum penalties, but this...
The first 2 actually.
Yes, and that ended up in tries being scored, but that was what we can call a full 8-man shove. First contained the pressure from the Moroccans and then started applying their own pressure, turning it over and then driving the Moroccan scrum back. What a show of power. And that in itself is a true definition of teamwork in the scrum.
Look at that. That's why it's called a set piece. The 2 teams set and they shove against each other. Uganda managed the exit, but they lost the line out, and Morocco are back in their own area. Nassim Terki attacking in the midfield, brought down by Byron Oketayot and Joseph Aredo. Now through the backs, long ball out to the midfield. It's Bilal El Kaulani. Ian Munyani brings him down just on the 22-meter line. Morocco are plugging away through the hands. Karim Kawuti. Strong tackle from Sidney Gongodio. Now the backs. Cross kick from Nufal El Kadri. Chasing it is Nile Ait Nasser, and the ball will bounce into touch under the watch of Timothy Chisinga. Uganda have a line out in the 22. The set pieces are being a clear contest for these two teams. We've seen the scrums, the line outs as well.
I think Nathan Bambale has to stop being too extravagant on the line outs. The forwards just need to get a number 2 ball, because we saw the very, very fast line out that was perfect. Julius Opio went and got the quick restart at number 2.
Bambale throwing. He goes to number 2 as advised by the man who has won the Africa Cup before, Alan Musoke, champion in 2007. And Morocco guilty of collapsing that. Should be taking the man down in the air on Julius Opio. And Philip Okorach will exit. He did well on the previous attempt, but the lineouts, the Rugby Cranes, have been a little bit too extravagant and too fancy in their set pieces, yet that 2 ball always works.
Yeah, because if you look at it in terms of stature of both players, it is easier for Julius Opio to be lifted up than the Moroccans can get to contest that number 2 ball, just because of the weight of the jumper. So that if they went the quick ball, it would be easier for Julius Opio to win at 2. While every time they reshuffle, as we see a water break come through, every time they try to reshuffle and walk around and move it around, then you give the Moroccans a chance to contest.
20 minutes on the clock. We have a stoppage in this match, and we use this opportunity to say, energize your game with Uganda's #1 premium energy drink, Rock Boom, who are bringing the energy to the pitch as the official energy partner of the Uganda Rugby Union. We're talking unstoppable energy on the pitch and in the stands as our rugby warriors battle it out at the Rugby Africa Cup and Rugby World Cup qualifiers right here at the Mandela National Stadium. Come feel the power, test that bold Rock Boom energy, and let's cheer our boys all the way to victory. Rock Boom, energize your game. Well, Alan Musoke, this is just 20 minutes on the clock. It's been breathtaking, a huge boost in tempo from the first game, but the home team are on the back foot. How do they respond in the second stanza of the game?
Yeah, we talked about playing the rugby in the right areas, and the Uganda Rugby Cranes need to start getting some pitch dominance and territory dominance over the Moroccans. All the action has been in the Uganda Rugby Cranes half, and the Moroccans are showing that they are as clinical as it would sound. So there's the sound there of frontline playing, and that is the customary Edwin.
Michael Okorach said that is a song reserved for the heathens faithful, but the Uganda rugby fans have taken it over. And one of the ways to know that Frontline is playing at a rugby match, the fans lift up their chairs. That was Edwin Wawire of the Fat Cats leading the fans. But we are back underway. Bwambale going to number 2 as well. Julius Opio getting it from his high tower. Nkore for Aredo in the back door. Aredo injecting with pace, brought down by Amin Bukanusha. And now Philip Okorach picking and driving. This is usually reserved for the forwards, but the backs are getting busy. Opio again from the line out. Now on to the front. Nasim Terki brings him down. Wanyama scanning for options. Goes to Munyani. Kasito running that inside loop.
We now see the Uganda Rugby Cranes trying to find their way and make their way as William Nkore does the clearance kick, a kick that he is very, very familiar with in the local rugby league that has been happening over the time. It is 14-0, so the Uganda Rugby Cranes really needs to get some points on the board as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're going to have a scramble towards the end of the game. It is showing a lot more composure now.
Yeah, it's about composure as Ilian Eliayawi finds touch, and now Uganda have an attacking set piece in good territory. The fans are energized by Rock Boom, but the sun is out, and if you do not have that cap, if you do not have that sunscreen, you will struggle. Unfortunately for the players, they have to bear all the conditions in the playing field. Nkore at number 10 for Aredo at 12. Aredo has been busy and carrying the ball. His number 13 midfield partner has been busy and racking the ball.
Yeah, it has been a good show in terms of keeping the possession. As Adrian Casito tries making runs, he was one of the better players against the Kenya team. He seems to find a way to get across the gain ball line, and for me, that is a sign. What possibly the Rugby Cranes need to do now is get and stop getting the ball off a standing start. which is what they are doing, especially in the forwards.
They had the free play. Timothy Tsiga lost the ball on the floor. Philip Okorach starts and goes quickly. He knows the players are offside. There will be a double blow of the whistle. Nasim El Yumuri commits a cynical foul, a cynical infringement, and he will spend the next 10 minutes in the bin. Philip Okorach, great awareness, knows everyone is offside, earns Uganda not only an extra 10 meters, but a power play for the next 10 minutes as Nasim El Yumuri in the number 18 jersey marches to the sin bin.
Yeah, that was very quick thought there from Philip, and the Moroccans know if they just let him through, then he would have a burst to the try line. So Nasim El Yumuri just has to commit the offense, and
He took one for the team.
yeah, well, you have to do it because that is either that or you're going to sacrifice a 5-pointer. So for the next 10 minutes, the Uganda Rugby Cranes have an advantage, and let's see how well they can use it.
Uganda with the line out about 7 meters away. It's the closest they have come to the Morocco try area. There's a stoppage to attend to one of the injured players. Uganda look like they're setting up a full man line out. You can call it a 6+1 as Frank Chidega in the number 6 jersey is in that halfback position and Conrad Wanyama a little deep. Very clear here, they're going for the rolling ball.
Oh yes, of course the worry would then be, can you get the ball into the hand? And as we see, the ball up to the number 6 jumper has not worked out very well for us, as the pressure is applied there on the rack, and that has been a very, very good phase of play there by the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Pius Ogena initiating that contact at the rack, and that turnover is going to be very, very beneficial.
Morocco guilty of playing the ball on the floor. They give away penalty on the 5. Uganda are going to try one of their smart plays. Frank Chidega, the vice captain, has the ball at his feet. Nathan Bwambale in that receiving position, but Chidega goes into contact. Wanyama picks. Byron Oketayo ducking under the pressure, but he's caught just be in front of the try area.
You see, in terms of
another pick and drive from the Rugby Cranes. They are pounding and plugging at it. They need a response and they need to make this power play count. Strong shove from Fahad Maido. Santos Senteza is on the pocket, but it goes to the back. Sunkore fumbles with the ball, goes to Timothy Chisiga, and Chisiga is caught just at the 22. Uganda have come from the try area to the 22-meter line. Philip Okorach finding and looking for Adrian Casito on the chase. Casito is beaten in the air by the fullback Ilian Eliayawi. Quick restart now. Morocco attacking strong. Casito from an offside position makes the tackle. Chisiga tracking back to cover. Joseph Aredo doing the same, but look at that pace from Eliayawi. Chisiga gets the ball, tackled by Eliayawi. The pressure is coming in from Morocco. Uganda have secured the breakdown in their own area, but what a loss of territory from the Rugby Cranes. And now they have to exit their own area through Ian Munyani, who applies violence to the ball and finds touch for the Rugby Cranes.
I think that was a very wrong choice of attacking there from William Corey. Ball in hand, and that should have actually come back to the blind side. He tried to go for the up and under for Adrian to contest. The Moroccans got their numbers back and had the presence of mind to even put it back upfield. So again, another huge territory loss there for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. From the try line, I think they should have left the forwards to just keep hammering at that line.
The forwards, especially Santos Senteza, were in position, but it went back door to William Kore, who lost it through his legs, and from there the Moroccans were rewarded with a line out just inside the Ugandan half. They go to Yassine Mamri, the try scorer, and the Moroccans, who had an equal number of mauls from the line out, shape up with another maul. They are attacking with a free play in their advantage. Nile Ait with a strong carry. Morocco, free play. The captain shuffles it beautifully to Karim Kadiri, and now they are on the 22. Uganda win the turnover through Conrad Wanyama, but Morocco knew they had the free play. What an inside ball that was from the captain Shabar to Karim Kadri.
The Moroccans are actually using their ball very well, and like I said, if the tackle is going to be made, now that the chop tackle is not working because of the offload, they need to go for ball and man to to stop that continuity from the Moroccans. So the defense has to work double time because they are big boys. So if you go for the high tackle and you're actually shoved off, then you're going to find yourself on the turf. It is hard showing here for the Uganda Rugby Cranes, who just need to be more clinical. A couple of visits to 22 for Morocco, and yet they've come out with no points. Yet every time Morocco tries to cross the 5-yard line, they seem to be finding points in there. A little discipline here and a little patience has to come through in defense.
Center referee for today is Benjamin Peiriot, who plies his trade in France.
So what do you have to say about the mascot?
Interesting that the fans are enjoying themselves in there. And the Moroccan forwards appear to be enjoying themselves as well. They have the ball in the Ugandan 22, Yassine Mamri. Big ball carrier now recycling. Karim Kawoti, he loses it forward. Conrad Wanyama on the pick and drive, sidestep and dummy with possession. Uganda outside the 22. Munyani recycles quickly. Casito for Philip Wokorach. Wokorach cutting back inside. Beautiful tackle from El Kaulani. Now Munyani, tip on play to Fahad Maido, who loses it forward in contact, and it's going to be a penalty for offside against the Atlas Lions.
Oh yeah, that in itself is a get out of jail free card. The Uganda Rugby Cranes have been guilty of spilling the ball in contact after a very, very good tackle. Just need to tuck the ball in much better and then continue with the defensive play. The hit, though, was also not something that you could take so lightly. Another chance for a line out, and Philip Okorach goes long, just in between the 22 and the 10. Line out call for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. What will Nathan Brambale do? We've seen majority of the success has come from the 2-ball. They've tried the 6-ball, but every time they try the 6-ball, they have been intercepted or turned over. Let's see what they choose in the line out.
Wambale, 5-man line out, goes to the front. Julius Opio, number 2, never fails. Alan Musoke, spot on in your analysis. Joseph Aredo looking for Byron Oketayot off his shoulder. The messy contest from Moroccans gives Uganda another penalty. Tackle and rolling away.
Yeah, that definitely has to come. I think that is a little bit of anxiety or impatience there in defense. The Moroccans trying to get their hands into the ball quickly. As you see the fans urging the Rugby Cranes on.
Morocco give away another 10 meters for back chatting at the referee. There's a couple of Ugandan legends in the stands there, Michael Okorach and Alex Mobiru. Alex Mobiru was your teammate. Did you ever play with Michael Okorach?
Yes, I actually had 2 or 3 cups, 2 or 3 tests, and many of them, actually all of them were against Kenya with Michael Okorach. He is an exceptional player. And of course, now I do suit up with him for the Legends games.
They call him Evergreen. Michael Okorach Gonya, former captain of the Rugby Cranes. Now he can only look on from the sidelines as the Rugby Cranes look for a response to Morocco. They go to the front, but it's well stolen by Nile Ait. Nasser and Pius Ogena has been caught offside at that line out.
So
the 2-ball, not exactly working perfectly because Morocco are contesting in front of Julius Opio.
Yeah, and again, when you see that, because of the success that you've had in the earlier 2-ball, you would anticipate that they're going to contest there. So that is where now you change it up, but don't go too far. Don't go to 6. You can actually contest it, send it at 4. So Nathan and the forwards do have to get, as Philip Okorach looks for line, but he is given the attention of 2 rugby players, Adrian Casito keeping ball in hand. He is a very powerful runner, and he does have a way of finding space.
Munyani at number 9, Wokorach at number 10, both playing out of position, both carrying it forward into contact. Nkore now, Joseph Aredo skipping to Timothy Chisiga. Timothy Chisiga with ball in 2 hands, caught just on the edge. Now Aredo at that number 9 position. Wanyama arrives just in time to play it out. Nkore, pass selection to Santos Senteza. Senteza lifted in the air, the biggest man on the playing field with his feet up. Nkore for Munyani into that space. Munyani loses it in contact. Scrum advantage for Morocco. Double knock on it is.
Yeah, again, like we said, the hits are coming through, but the players have to tuck the ball in so that they have continuity there. It was not from I think it was just the way he placed the ball into you have to really tuck it into your armpit so that the contact comes. You take the contact and still be able to present. A bit unlucky there from Ian.
Ian Munyani is the Uganda men's sevens. You can say ex-captain, because the current captain, Alex Aturinda, is on the bench. But this year has been one where the Rugby Cranes have shifted priorities from the 7s to the 15s. And so far as it stands, the path is the same as it was last year. Lost the quarter-final match, struggled a bit in that placement match, but remember that Senegal game, 120 minutes of rugby.
Yeah, that in itself was a real chest thumper, just binder for all the players who were involved in that. And the score exchange hands. Here, Morocco have an advantage of an early 14 points. But kudos to the Uganda Rugby Cranes. They've managed to contain, they've managed to settle, and they are now playing in the right areas of the field. That is what they need to. Like I said, we need to be more clinical when we get to those red zones.
If you're looking for some plot, Plascon Uganda is pulling up to the Kampala Auto Show on 12th and 13th at the Kololo Independence Grounds. We say we'll be showcasing exciting innovations in automotive paint and repairs, including our lightweight body filler that fits perfectly, sands easily, and dries fast for a flawless finish. Whether you're working on your own ride or fixing up customers' cars, there's plenty to see and learn. Come through, ask questions, and discover how Plascon is shaping the future of automotive care. Plascon, color your world. The Uganda Rugby Cranes technical bench, a little bit puzzled on where to attack, as Amin Bukanusha, the Morocco number 8, has had to be replaced. We'll get confirmation of what the change is for. But play has resumed now with scrum to Morocco. Looks actually like a sin bin play.
No, I don't think it's a sin bin play. I think it is a tactical substitution. Could be possibly through injury. If it was a sin bin, as Ian Miani chases it down and spins to the line, can he stay within the field? That is a very good phase of play defensively. Again, Frank the Tank count in no man's land, and I think eyes took off his eyes off the ball, and hence another knock on. What let down for the Uganda Rugby Cranes there.
Frank Chidega had Adira Shabar in his face, and he loses that ball forward. Interestingly, Morocco had 7 men in that scrummage, and we are getting confirmation of how the change has been made, who is going to come on and replace him, as the tournament directors and match officials confirm the change. But as it stands now, Morocco are on the playing field with just 7 players. Or it could be that the yellow card that was shown to a front row player, and they need to take off a player as a replacement.
Oh yes, and that's exactly what happened, because the yellow card was given to Nassim
El Yumuri, who was at the front row.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense now. Ian Munyani looking for another intercept and charge down. And the fullback, Eliayawi, having to exit. He kicks it straight to Timothy Chisiga. Chisiga has Frank Chidega in support. Chidega was going to the blind side. Chisiga carried it into the open side. Uganda have advantage for offside. Wanyama looking to fish it out, going to Fahad Maido, but it's lost forward again. Uganda cannot handle that over ball safely and through into their pockets.
Yeah, I think now the run has to actually start from a little deeper, because you realize that Morocco is applying a lot of pressure off the fringes. So what we would look for is now get the runner to come a little deeper, so that they're not receiving the ball from back. But as you can see, the defender actually shot up, and I think that is a cause of worry for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. The captain has to look at it. The captain has to talk about it, as they have a scrum right in front of the posts. A very, very good set piece that the Uganda Rugby Cranes can actually take advantage of.
Uganda had the option to go for the penalty for offside at the mark, or a scrum where the ball was kicked from by Eliayawi, and they've opted for a scrum right in front of the uprights. Santos Sentes and Fahad Maido, plus their hooker Nathan Bwambale, feeling they have the firepower, knowing that El Yumuri is off. They have that advantage, 8 men pushing against 7. What are the options for the Rugby Cranes? Conrad Wanyama will feed, but there's going to be a reset. When you're looking at this set piece, Uganda has a split backline. I wonder if this ball will leave the forwards anyway.
They should not be in a hurry to spread the ball out wide, despite the fact that you have strong runners in Philip Okorach. I know Philip Okorach standing on the right-hand side of this. If first apply as much pressure as you can on this pack for Morocco, so you actually might end up getting a penalty try. So milk the penalties, but that initial shove is very critical.
Wanyama feeds Uganda 8 men against 7. The ball is at the feet of Pius Ogena. Referee says stay bound. They're playing it, no advantage yet. Ogena shuffling it outwards. The advantage now finally for the Rugby Cranes, and the full blast of the whistle for illegal scrummaging against the Moroccans. They are living dangerously here. Maybe Pius Ogena could have gone himself instead of looking for the pass.
Yeah, I would actually expect that he picks and heads to the right-hand side of this field. He has the power and the pace to be able to travel very many defenders. I'm wondering why he tried to bring the ball back to the blind side where the defense was actually crumbling. So in that instance, I think he's actually safer taking the ball to the right-hand side of the field, because that is actually where Timothy Chisiga and Philip Okorach, Adrian Casito are.
Amin Bokanusha comes back onto the playing field. The sin bin period appears to have ended. And now it is going to be 8 against 8. Pius Ogena at the back of that scrum will have the ball on his feet. Conrad Wanyama is going to feed, but it needs to be hooked backwards. Timothy Chisiga and Joseph Jadonga Redo on the left. The other options on the right, with Morocco patrolling that space. But the scrum is straight in front of the uprights, and the Moroccan front row goes on their knees. Santos Senteza applying pressure. Fahad Maido wins the scrum penalty for Uganda. And now Wanyama picking, looking for that switch, but he's thumped in the tackle by Adil Ashabar. What a tackle. Unfortunately, looking for that switch for Chisiga. Couldn't find him. Uganda, another penalty advantage not utilized.
Yeah, like I said, the Uganda Rugby Cranes are not clinical enough in attack. Yes, Conrad just took a little too long. He should have just let that ball go and then let the outside backs run, because you have Philip, you have Ian outside. Let it fly and let the magic be done on the wider areas.
Conrad Wanyama had Timothy Chisiga running off his shoulder, Philip Okorach and Adrian Casito on the outside, Joseph Aredo on this side, and that is what is having the Ugandan contingent rubbing their heads and asking themselves where the opportunity could have been and how they could have utilized it. But, you know, this is going to be one of those grueling moments. The clock is ticking towards halftime. Uganda are not putting points on the board.
The Uganda Rugby Cranes have to use this phase of play, have to use this possession to their advantage. They would not want to go to the halftime break down 14 points, despite the fact that they have all this possession and in the right areas of the field.
Zen Kashna, receiving instructions from the top, gives them a thumbs up that the message has been transferred. Nkore now on the open side says something to Ian Munyani. Conrad Wanyama will know what he needs to do with the ball, but can the forwards win it for him? Look at that. Glance a bit to the open side. Wanyama getting the forwards to work. Bwambale hooks it beautifully for Pius Ogena. The pressure is coming in from the Rugby Cranes. Referee says no advantage. Wanyama goes to the open side, to the short side rather, to Philip Okorach. 1 man against 3. Okorach well secured by the Rugby Cranes. Casito scanning for options. Goes to Frank Chidega. Tackled just right on that mark. Wanyama slow ball. Looking for Byron Oketayot, but goes to Pius Ogena. Ogena skips out of the first tackle. Was that a player getting a head to a knee to his head? Maybe. Now Nkore, the number 10, carrying a lot more than his midfield partners. Santos Senteza, the big man, tips it on to the small man, Pius Ogena, a bit contrasting from the Rugby Cranes. Now the open side, Aredo also carrying it forward. The Rugby Cranes are not transferring it through the hands. The Moroccans are making those easy tackles. Santos Senteza, this time forced to carry the ball. Well secured by the Rugby Cranes. Gongodio arrives at that breakdown and is looking to pick it up, but Wanyama says, I'll send it out to my captain, Byron Oketayot. The Cranes colliding. Bwambale back on his feet. Back to the short side. Nkore, Chisiga, short ball for Philip Okorach. The forwards now in position. Fahad Maido. What a carry from the big man. Wanyama looking for that ball. Bwambale getting in space with Frank Chidega. Bwambale supported by Byron Oketayot. Strong fruit forward. Strong carry from Nathan Bwambale. Now Julius Opio looked like he was going to go for that backdoor option, but he was tackled right in time. Munyani is in position, but he's running a very short line. Looks like he will carry it. Ian Munyani like a forward. The coach says he likes him as a lock, only to discover that he is a midfielder. Uganda Rugby Cranes have run out of time to score points. This is the last play. They have to score with this possession. Bwambale. Moroccans making tackles back to the open side. Munyani, cross kick, looking for Joseph Aredo. It bounces into touch. Wasn't the best of options. And Morocco will go into this halftime break with a comfortable 14-point lead as Ian Munyani has squandered a beautiful opportunity for the Rugby Cranes to respond before halftime.
Yeah, and I think that that phase of play, if you're going to go for that kind of kick, put it into the try area and give the chasing pack something to run onto, because the backs are turned and that gives them the acceleration. It has been a good phase of play for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. They have again left the 22 without points, 14-0.
Morocco marching into the halftime break and the tunnel with smiles. Rugby Cranes shaking their heads, but the score as it stands at the break is 14 points for the Atlas Lions and nil for the Rugby Cranes. We will be back with halftime analysis after this commercial break. Welcome back from the halftime break. Morocco leading by 14 points to nil against Uganda. The winner of this match will progress to the 5th place playoff against Senegal. The loser will be staring down the barrel of relegation against Cote d'Ivoire. What response will the Rugby Cranes have against this Atlas Lions surge in the first half? William Nkore with the restart from left to right on your screens, goes high and long. It's being chased by Pius Ogena, but well covered by the Moroccans through Amin Bukanusha. Slow set. El Yumuri with a beautiful carry. Now shaping up for the box kick through Teo Bachiri. It goes high and short, will be a contestable kick. Under it is Ian Munyani, fumbles with it but manages to just about gather. Wanyama goes backdoor to William Nkore. Nkore for Philip Okorach. Okorach brought down by Nasser Ait. Wanyama scanning for options. Goes to the short side. Nathan Bwambale. Nassim Terki brings him down. It's popped up backwards, ripped was the call, and a knock-on advantage goes to the Atlas Lions in red as Conrad Wanyama has lost that ball on the floor. There's going to be a lot of soul searching for the Rugby Cranes as the penalty now for hands in the ruck. I thought that was hands in the ruck there from Nassim Terki as Conrad Wanyama was looking to get that breakdown. But Alan Musoke, what response can the Rugby Cranes put up? They have just 40 minutes to salvage something out of this match.
Yeah, I think the Rugby Cranes have to keep ball in hand no matter what. I think one of the things that the coach told them in the dressing room is those cross kicks are not going to work. Those cross kicks are not going to work. So that means they need to up their ante. They need to up and the running skills. I also believe they need to use the number 12 channel a lot more. That means get the ball to Aredo and let him do something. If not, let him also transfer it to number 13, Ian Miani.
Line-out wasn't straight, but there was no contest from the Moroccans, so Wanyama will find Joseph Aredo, who puts a knee to the ground. Now Byron Oketayot. What a tackle from Bilal Fadil on his bootlaces. Back to the short side. Nkore, Chisiga damming and carrying into contact. Had Ogena and Bwambale on his outside. Now Nkore doing more number 10 duties, but the forwards had run just ahead of him. Julius Opio is found in space. Now Aredo for Wokorach. Look at those spaces from the Rugby Cranes. Wokorach trying to do it himself, dancing in front of El Kadri, who brings him down just on the gain line. Wanyama back to the open side. Fahad Maido caught behind, offloads to Munyani, plays that ball on the floor. The contest is there from the Moroccans. Ref says it's open play. Now there's space aplenty for Ashabar to exploit. He kicks it, it bounces, rolls on and off the pitch. Was it inside the 22? The appeal is made by the Moroccans. Casito has the ball in hand. Outside the 22 is the call. Uganda ball.
That again is the Uganda Rugby Cranes losing the ball in contact and not getting their pods working well, which is a little bit of a worry, a little bit of a bother. Every time the ball goes out wide to Philip Okarachi, doesn't seem to have enough support around him in time. And then when it's recycled, I'm thinking that the Rugby Cranes have to go a little deeper so that they can then run onto the ball. Unforced error there from Pius Ogena.
Pius Ogena loses the ball as he comes down from the line out. It was a successful 6-ball. Managed to go beyond that contest at number 4. But Mr. Matrix tells us that for the 5th consecutive test match, Uganda are trailing at halftime. This time it's against Morocco, who are ranked 39th. Uganda is 41st today, so a contest with a team who is evenly matched against them. But there's been a bit of contest at that breakdown. Uganda 10 lineouts, one only 6. Morocco clean at their lineouts. The scrums, however, 3 out of 5 and 2 out of 3. This set piece is going to be a crucial contest. Can Fahad Maido bring Uganda back to level pecking with that contest at that front row? Now that Morocco are back to a full complement, it goes even. Now Adira Shaba had the gap open up a bit, but he made the offload. Moroccans are back. Look at that tip-on pass out to Ait Nasser. Uganda tracking backwards. Philip Okorach patrolling 3v2. The pass out to the winger, but it's lost on the floor by Younes Hu. And wow, Morocco are knocking strong on Uganda's goal, but the defense is up to the task and the ball handling is letting them down.
Again, that's another line break there by Morocco. They are finding those little gaps through the Ugandan backline, and I think the back row has to, that's Pius Ogena, Frank Chidega have to work a little harder to just get in to plug those gaps. It is good that the lineouts have actually begun working. The number 6 ball is now being more effective, and that means the Uganda Rugby Cranes can set up a platform for William Mukore perhaps to clear their lines. And
Maido now has the ball at the back of that maul. He has earned Uganda a full penalty for illegal mauling by the Moroccans again from the side. This is what cost them a bit earlier in this match. They've come from their 5. Philip Okorach has a penalty to take from the 22. He goes long and is now just inside the Morocco half. What a turn of events for the Rugby Cranes. They have 8 men on the bench, maybe looking at that or sticking with the players who are still on the field.
For now, I think we need some more running impetus off the line. And there we have it. I think the coach has seen enough. On come Alex Aturinda, Emiemu, and Elifaze Mong. We're yet to see who they're going to replace. Of course, that means Nathan Bambali comes off, taken off Sydney Gongodio. Waiting to see who else is going to get off the field. And there we have it, Frank Chidega. He's not had a game by his pretty high standards. Not had a good game. He had a couple of handing errors. Sitting on God, you're limping off there. He's also done quite a bit of work in the breakdowns. Let's see if there's substitutions or replacements can actually give us some attacking impetus. I was also thinking that William Corey needs to get some ball in hand and some more runs.
Emiemu does well with the line out, but the maul is tampered with by the Moroccans, and that's going to be another handling error. Sydney Gongodio hasn't been as prominent as expected. Frank Chidega, like you said, a low performance from the expected and the one we've been used to. But these players coming off the bench, Alex Aturinda, Elifaze Mong, and Emiemu will be looking to build on the blocking on the blocks that the players who started ahead of them had set up. And maybe these are just the 3 forwards, still 5 players to bring on. Uganda had a 6-2 split on the bench. A 6-2 split on the bench, the only backs being Aaron Ofoiroth and Shakim Sembusi.
Yeah, as the set piece comes through, we would like to see how the pack will hold, because the last substitutions that were made in the park against the previous game then cost territorial distance. But the scrum down, let's see how much the attacking forwards can actually bring it.
Line out went well. Now the scrum, the pressure is coming in from the Moroccans. It is shuffled out to the backs. Ashaba kicks it behind Timothy Chisiga. Chisiga will not be keeping that ball in the playing field, and that looks like it's going to be a 50-22.
Again, left-footed kick caught everybody off guard. Timothy Chisiga was deep, but not as deep, and didn't expect the kick to go that far. So another attacking platform for Morocco. We need to disrupt this. That's the Uganda Rugby Cranes need to put up a contest on the line out, and then also be able to contend with the rolling maul that Morocco has used so effectively.
Just a reminder that this is the placement semi-final. The cup semi-finals will begin in the afternoon session with Namibia taking on Algeria and Zimbabwe taking on Kenya. For now, the battle is for who will get that best of the rest place. Morocco go up in the air, no contest from Uganda. Bilal Fadil brings it down, and Uganda contested that maul, giving away nothing to the Moroccans, no advantage. It's open play. Pius Ogena puts a shoulder in, the ball is lost forward, and it's going to be a scrum for Uganda. The set pieces have been messy. These two teams are known, according to the statistics. Morocco had 14 lineouts last weekend. 14 penalties went to the lineout 6 times. 4 of those were maul drives. Uganda, same number, 10, but they went for the maul 4 times. Unfortunately, the handling this time has not been the best.
The handling error there by Morocco, and must be a lot of relief there from the Uganda Rugby Cranes park, because they didn't contest, and their contest then at the mall was also a little shady, but they managed to disrupt it enough to get the knock on and get the turnover. Dangerous areas to play in, dangerous territory to play in. Can they clear their lines after holding the set piece up?
Emiemo hooks it backwards. Wanyama is urged to use it as the forwards were marching forward now. Nkore exits. It goes long, but it stays on the playing field. And now through the hands, Ashaba, the captain, or rather Eliayawi in the number 15 jersey. Scanned for options, decided to carry it into contact as the forwards retreated and got back into position. Now El Ansari coming off the bench for the Moroccans. Quick shuffle of the ball, but it's lost on the floor there by El Kaulani. There's a bit of confusion on where the ball was going to go. Some players running in the wrong channels, but El Kaulani Kaulani receiving the ball under pressure wasn't the best of passes. He loses it forward.
Yes, that again was a handling error from the Moroccans, and I think that was just a confusion of where the ball was going to go in terms of the moves, and that means the players running into different channels, and the ball handler at that point is not sure where the ball goes to. The pass was flung out and did not go to hand.
Zen Kashna urging the Rugby Cranes to scrum fast before thinking about any other objective. Conrad Wanyama getting his front row in position. He is the vice captain of this team. Senteza and Fahad Maido with Emiemo at the front. Look at the pressure coming in from the Moroccans. The break foot from Emiemo not in place, and that gives away a free kick to Morocco. Ashaba goes up in the air, it bounces on, stays on. Philip Okorach wins that contest in the air, but he's dragged into touch. Line out Morocco. Morocco are winning the little battles, slowly but steady. It's now 10, 11 minutes or so. After the halftime break, they've kept Uganda in their own area. They've kept Uganda scoreless. Now they are winning those small battles and are beginning to march forward to the try area.
Yes, Morocco is doing the small things right, and possibly enemies of their own progress, because they are getting into good attacking positions, breaking the game ball line, and then a number of covering errors creeping through. It will be a bit of encouragement for the Uganda Rugby Cranes, who actually have to get onto the score sheet, as Patrick Salvador glances worryingly, and the inside ball again, another ball not going to hand, and reprieve for the Uganda Rugby Cranes.
Ogena takes care of the ball. Conrad Wanyama goes to Nkore. This time Uganda don't go for the kick. Joseph Aredo had Ian Munyani a bit too far from him and carried it into contact outside the 22. All the backs are in that rack, and so Adrian Casito has to kick it up and forward for Eliayawi to return with interest. Eliayawi passing it out to the winger, Mohamed El Kadiri. What a line from the Moroccans. They have cut Uganda apart, but the pass from El Kaulani was forward, and the try scoring opportunity goes begging. El Kaulani, forward pass to Karim Kadiri. Uganda survive. Another score from the Moroccans.
That indeed is, but after the kick is Adrian Casito fails to scramble across, and then the interplay between the Moroccans, they are just forcing the pass to go forward as the try line is begging. Reprieve again for the Uganda Rugby Cranes, leaving in very, very dangerous times. The kick had to happen, and I think it could have been done in a more structured way, so that you can, you're in your 22, you could have done it in a more structured way to get that distance, or at least ensure that doesn't go down the throat of the Moroccan defenders.
Mohamed Karim Kadiri was beginning to celebrate a good opportunity to score points, but that pass sailed forward, and the assistant referee was in the right place at the right time, well knowing that was not backwards out of the hands. Conrad Wanyama will feed another scrum. I've lost count of the scrums in this game. handling errors are plenty. But we shall have a stoppage coming to an end after that short medical break. Wanyama feeding. Uganda have changed 2 on the front row. Morocco have changed just 1. Emiemu. Rather, both have changed just 1. Now Aredo going to Philip Okrach on the skip pass. Timothy Chisiga, we saw his burst of pace against Kenya. He tries to run around Younes Hu, but Younes Hu has used that touchline as his extra defender and wins that turnover for Uganda for the line-out. For Morocco with the line-out.
Yeah, Morocco also
Musoke,
just doing enough to...
You seem to be looking for solutions for Uganda, and everything they are doing is not working.
I guess it's now time to possibly dig to the bench and see if you can freshen up that backline. My suggestion would be bring on Hakim Sembusi at the wing, move Timothy Chisiga to number 13, and then you will then have Joseph Aredo coming and William Mukere coming off. That then gives your backline 2 silky runners in Timothy Chisiga, who is also quick, and on comes Aaron Ofoyroth.
A bit off script. On comes Aaron Ofoyroth, but the line-out needed to be taken again. Aaron Ofoyroth coming in for Conrad Wanyama, meaning that there's still time to pull that move.
Yes.
With Shakim Sembusi coming on to the wing and then William Mukore off. Aaron Ofoyroth and William Mukore, teammates on the 7s. Conrad Wanyama has not had the best of matches, not just today, but in a really, really long time, and he has had to make way for Aaron Ofoyroth. Line out now taken successfully by Morocco. Short ball, and what a tackle by Byron Oketayot on El Kadri.
Yeah, Byron needs
now the forwards injecting their pace from Morocco, and the forwards injecting their shoulders for Uganda. Ian Munyani in there for that tackle, but it's completed by Emiemu. Look at that carry from Zakaria El Fakir. Munyani cleared off the breakdown. Looking for that shoulder is Karim Kadiri. Look at the big man at the wing running like a prop, and he touches down for Morocco's 3rd try. Uganda unable to break the Moroccans. Uganda unable to defend the Moroccans. Now the score is 3 times higher.
That in itself is a big phase of play by Karim Badiri, and he showed plenty of power, plenty of awareness there to actually put the ball in, go through a bevy of bodies, and have the presence of mind to dot it down. What a power play there. Ian Munyani was just shoved off the play, and as they kept the ball alive, like I said, Aaron Ofoyroth just coming on, and he is greeted with a big fend. Joseph Aredo couldn't just hold the big man up. What a score for Morocco. More trouble for the Uganda Rugby Cranes.
More trouble for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Munyani was cleared off the breakdown, and look at that line from Karim Kadiri. Sits Aaron Ofoyroth down. That was his first attempt at anything in this match, and he misses the tackle. And then the 2 players, Joseph Aredo and Philip Okrach, unable to bring Karim Kadiri down. Morocco now 19 points on the board. Conversion by Nufal El Kadri to come. He strikes it beautifully, and the flags unfortunately stayed down as the angle was not a successful hit for him. The kick was successful actually, but the time had run out. Look at that kick from El Kadri. Unfortunately, the referee had said you've used up your 60 seconds. Uganda maybe survive those 2 points. 19 it stays.
The Uganda Rugby Cranes do now massively need to get points onto the board. The kick is high by Aaron Ofoyroth. It is an on Solchi Vumbi with his first carry of the game at the 22. On comes Collins Chimboa as well. So that change at the front row has now been completed. The front row has been refreshed. Alex Aturinda, who is a lot more attack-minded than Frank Chidega, has and carries the ball forward.
Collins Chimboa. Now Aaron Ofoyroth goes to Ian Munyani. Munyani with a loop pass looking for Alex Aturinda. It bounces into touch. The numbers were plenty, but Ian Munyani could not make the right selection. Threw a pass higher than Alex Aturinda, and he has to apologize to his teammates as on comes Louis Potin for the Moroccans. Teams running a couple of changes in there. He comes on for should be El Kadri.
Substitution for Morocco, of course.
In that number
Before
12 jersey, El
Cameroon.
Kadri
And on comes
getting good
Luis
with his conversions. Kicked 2 of those,
Uteni.
but missed his last attempt. Now Morocco with the line out, 4-man. Julius Opio contests in the air, but is beaten to it. Aaron Foyroth cleans up with that tackle on Karim Kawuti. Now through the hands, Morocco trying to find a good angle with Jad Wazani. And the exit kick from Louis Poitin. I've had to check with my French classes and adjusted with the pronunciation of the names.
Yeah, you're not doing too badly yourself. I think you spent the whole night banging Winter on that one. So kudos to you. You're pulling them up. And let's hope that they're going to be a steady scrum down. Emiemu with his fast throw as he's come on. Elfazi Emong also freshened up. Julius Opio still there. Sol Chibumbi at the back.
Julius Opio up in the air, well taken by the man called Hightower, but he was brought down illegally in the tackle, in the line out rather, and it's going to be a penalty for Uganda. Aaron Foyroth looking for that corner, sends it into touch. Ugandan line out around 7 or so, it could be 8 meters. Emiemu through to the number 4, Julius Opio. Had a couple of jumpers in Elifaze Monga and Pius Ogena in there. What will he do this time? Emiemu, this is his 3rd throw of the match, hasn't made the mistake yet. Julius Opio goes up. It's contested by the Moroccans, but they have lost it forward after winning the ball back. This time it was Jad Wazani. Knock on for Uganda, knock on for Morocco, says the referee. Julius Opio lost it up in the air.
Yeah, again, I thought it was going to be reprieve for the Rugby Cranes one more time. Julius Opio adjudged to have knocked it on in the line out, which means they have to contend a scrum down and an opportunity for the Moroccans to clear their lines. Again, they get so close back into the 22. I thought Aaron would have put that kick a little further to the 5 with a little more focus. But it's a scrum down they have to contend with. If they apply pressure, then they'll get a penalty in the right areas.
One too many scrum downs for comfort, especially for the Rugby Cranes, whose opportunities in this area have not been aplenty. Morocco exit beautifully through Louis Potin as Zen Kashna looks on for the Rugby Cranes. Is one of the kicking consultants who was brought in towards the end of the campaign, but unfortunately Uganda have not had much success to get the kickers in the right places or for the kickers to kick without pressure in open play. So now the set pieces now will have to crack.
Zayn was actually helping out a lot with the backs as well. So some of the things that he's seeing now, I bet I'm getting him to pull his hair out.
Emiemu goes to Pius Ogena at the number 6. Uganda set up a rolling maul, and again the Moroccans infringe in that set piece. They have a hand on the ball, but it's with Alex Aturinda. Uganda marching forward. Aaron Foyroth urging them forward. Pius Ogena with the ball at his hands. The Moroccans defend strong and resolutely. Foyroth looking for that ball. It pops out just in time. Now to the first pod of forwards, Colin Chimbowa. It was Aaron Foyroth caught by a player in an offside position. It pops out back to Timothy Chisiga, who is tackled without the ball, and referee is playing advantage to the Rugby Cranes. Nkore looking for that quick restart, but he has to exchange some pleasantries with Yadu Wazani, and the referee has said we will take the mark on the 5-meter line for offside. Clock has now ticked to the full hour mark. Aaron Foyroth looking for options. The Rugby Cranes decide that they will be taking that set piece. Just 5 meters short. Emiemu feels he has enough on his opposite number. Hassan Haimishe, who scored Morocco's lone try and lone points in the game against Zimbabwe. Morocco losing by 43 points to 5 against Zimbabwe, and Uganda losing by 32 points to 24 against Kenya.
Yeah, the Rugby Cranes then, and in terms of the quarterfinals, get into a good position. We are in the placement game, it is at the 5. We have talked about the clinical finishing or how critical they can be. Let's see how well they can get across the line. Aaron Ofoiroth to Joseph
Aredo. It's a 9-12 combination. Munyani, the number 13, has to pick it up and play halfback duties. Ball pops out to Elifaze Mong, who loses it backwards, or was it slapped forwards, and the referee has a full blast of his whistle. He will be saying something to the Moroccans on repeat infringement. Yusuf Philip Okorach urging the team on the bench not to bring on the kicking team. Uganda are going for the 5 points.
They do need to get points on the board. They do need to get points on the board quickly, and it's not the 3 points that they would want. The 3 points I know would get the scoreboard ticking, but it will leave them with still a huge deficit to fight on. So Philip Okorach again calls for the scrum down. The forwards need to use this ball a lot better. It is in very, very dangerous times. We're in the red zone, and the backs just need to get it wide and get it wide efficiently.
Is this one of those games you think will go into extra time like we saw last year?
Yeah, I believe with a score now, it will really flip the momentum into the Uganda Rugby Cranes' favor. But they need to use the ball in hand very, very efficiently. My thoughts here is a pick from the number 8.
Ofoiroth feeds. It's well shuffled backwards. Uganda applying the pressure. Now the scrum has been wheeled by the Moroccans. Penalty advantage. Ofoiroth picks with the fen. Ball slapped down. Double blow of the whistle. And it's going to be the captain, Adira Shaba, marching to the bin without any further ado. Philip Okorach looked like he was in line for that short pass and score. But Morocco again take one for the team. They've been reduced to 14 men. Do the Rugby Cranes go for the scrum again, or do they tap and go?
The Rugby Cranes have to go for the scrum. Remember, the back line is thin, it's light, and which means you have extra numbers outside. If you tap and go, it means the Moroccans can actually shuffle across. You need a scrum down here and then get the numbers in.
Philip Okorach, if that pass had gone through, the Rugby Cranes fans would have been on their feet, but the captain, Adir Shaba, takes one for the team. Morocco had the sin bin in the first half. Uganda did not score. They've had one in the second half. What can Uganda do this time? Aaron Ofoiroth pointing to Joseph Aredo, the attacking options that he has in front of him. The forwards are at full complement, but the backs aren't. Ofoiroth feeds. Pius Ogena feeling that pressure. Ofoiroth goes to the short side to Philip Okorach. Philip Okorach looking for the offload, but he will not use Chisiga. He will touch down himself in the corner.
That is indeed presence of mind, calmness personified as the man Philip Okorach is. The first 5-pointer of the game for the Uganda Rugby Cranes, and he still did have an option, Timothy Chisiga outside. So Philip Okorach, with the presence of mind, he kept the ball, he kept his composure, he beat his defender, and very, very good running there and good feed from Aaron Ofoiroth. Philip keeping the ball in hand, not overrode by the contest in the defense.
Okorach will now look for his first points off the boot with this conversion. It's a very tight angle from the touch line. We've already seen a kick not be taken because of time, but Philip Okorach knows that he needs to strike this quick and early, but as much as he does, the conversion is not successful, and the score will stay as is, 19 points to 5. Morocco lead against Uganda.
Again, the string of momentum, like I talked about, needed that score, and that brings 24 minutes played means you have 16 to go, and since you've scored this 1 point, it's 2 converted tries that are important. The Uganda Rugby Cranes on the ascendancy in this one, it will be critical for them to actually come out and score the points now.
Water break midway through this second half. Use this opportunity to say Omo proudly sponsors the Rugby Africa Cup, and as teams battle mud and sweat, remember that is good, and Omo keeps their jerseys fresh. Join the excitement. Go Uganda, Omo say. Go Omo, unbeatable on stains. Alan Musoke, these two placement semi-finals have been a bit of a drag, to be honest. Hot and cold in some moments. We saw Cote d'Ivoire against Senegal, Senegal coming from behind to lead and win their tie comfortably. Morocco have had a good start, 19 points they lead against the Rugby Cranes. Any chance that we shall have a repeat of a successful comeback in this other semi-final?
Like I said, momentum is what rides in this game. You got the Rugby Cranes have forced a 5-pointer. They bring it down within 2 scores, which they need to find one very, very quickly. Of course, Morocco has gone deep, as is predicted. Joseph Aredo has been clearing his lines very well, and that finds some grass, which indeed is a good kick. And the spill from Morocco justifies the kick from Joseph Aredo, which is a good return for the Rugby Cranes. Momentum on, and let's see if they can increase on their addition. Remember, Morocco is down by a man.
Morocco without their captain, Adir Ashaba, who is spending some time in the sin bin after that sin call play. So the forwards, much as they are 8 on 8, the backs are attacking with a man advantage. William Okore has shaped up his major backline with Aredo, Munyani and Chisiga on the short side. That means Philip Wokorach and Chisiga are on the short side, on the open side rather, of Foyroth and Ogena, playing that 8-9 combination of Foyroth looking for Wokorach, finds Wokorach. Wokorach has Casito on his outside. Casito picking it from behind, but he puts it a foot in touch, as that tackle from the Moroccans appears to have had 2 players. They've done the job, but at what cost? That is Bilal Fadil tackled Adrian Casito on the break, but maybe he has hurt his shoulder, Fadil. Look at that cross-covering tackle, and then he lands on the wrong side of his body. Fadil must be hurt in there, the number 6.
Again, a lot of work that has been done, because if you see where he came from the breakdown, and he has managed to close that line. That is a lot of work that the forward there has done to put Adrian into touch.
Hasim Haimishe rather throws the line out to Nasser. Nasser gathers and spreads it out wide to the other forwards to carry. Now back to the open side. Morocco have been playing that 1-1 play. Karim Kadiri caught behind the gain line, but there will be a return to the mark and a yellow card to the captain, Byron Oketayot.
Yellow card.
I am thinking that has been because of the blow to the head. It was a direct tackle. He made no attempts there to duck low, and player safety is very, very paramount in the game of rugby.
Interesting times. You get to see Alan Musoke, the 2 captains in the sin bin, Adir Ashaba and Byron Oketayot. These 2 teams, they are not short of leadership, but as it stands at the very top, there's lots more to be expected and demanded.
Yeah, Byron Oketa, I think very unfortunate there, because he wanted to apply the pressure and he got caught on the wrong side of that tackle. I don't know if the captains are actually exchanging pleasantries, or they are just trying to hydrate there on that sin bin table. They're just thinking of their mistakes and possibly how they can correct them. But we have about 14 minutes to the end of the game. It is a 14-pointer in favor of Morocco.
Ashaba will get out of the sin bin earlier than his opposite man.
Substitution for Morocco, of course, Mohamed Karim.
We apologize for the loss in transmission as
Jodat,
our technical team work to fix it.
also in the front row, Nassim Shaki was up for Nabir Buramed. The try for Morocco.
As another try is scored there by Morocco. Leaky defense by the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Another 5-pointer. Morocco edging this one towards the tail end. They're rolling more. Big use to good effect. And the breakaway, Adrian Casito could not keep the player up. And there is indeed enough momentum for Morocco to add another 5-pointer to their name.
That is Bilal Fadil with a power carry and score in the corner for Morocco off that rolling maul. 24 points to 5. The score now stands. And at this point, with the conversion sailing wide, you begin to wonder if the Rugby Cranes have a chance, if any, to come back in this game.
Rugby is a game of very, very fine margins, and yes, there is still a chance. As long as you still have minutes on the board, you need to utilize your chances. The kickoff is going to be crucial. I'm not sure where Aaron Oforos can put it. I'd rather I puts it contestable so that you have the big men running at it.
The Rugby Cranes have been a shadow of their former selves. Looks like two teams have shown up for this match from the one that played against Kenya, and right now they find themselves just with the margin which they scored 24, but they've only been able to score 5. Morocco have shown that there's a bit of quality between themselves and the Rugby Cranes. Now Nkore for Philip Wokorach. Wokorach has a man on his outside. 3 actually, decides to find the last one, Timothy Chisiga. Now Chisiga cutting back inside, well secured by Ian Munyani, and Wokorach is up at that track. Aturinda picks, finds Emiemo. Emiemo caught behind the gain line. Ofoiroth, long ball out to Joseph Aredo. Aredo has Ogena on his outside, puts it to the boat for Adrian Casito to chase. Casito will be up against Eliayawi, and Eliayawi will leave it to roll into touch, line out for the Atlas Lions.
A good kick there by Joseph Aredo, hoping the bubble, the bounce will confuse the defender as a rugby ball does. It is a line out to Morocco, and that means they have a chance to again clear their lines.
Captain Adira Chaba preparing to come back on, leaving Byron Oketayot in the scene bin to ponder on how the Rugby Cranes can come back. Chaba is in a good mood, but the line out is going to be taken by Haimisha. Haimisha goes up in the air to Ait Nasser, but Nasser has landed in a bit of an uncomfortable position on the shoulders, on the back of Elifaz Emong at that line out.
Yeah, Elifaz Emong there caught in no man's land. The line out closed the gap, and the jumper straight into him, got a few studs at the back of his head and his neck, but he's ringing it out. He's a big lad, he's a strong lad, he should be able to recover. Whether Nile Ait is also fine, we see him back onto his feet. Penalty for Morocco.
The Uganda Rugby Cranes need to score 4 times, 4 tries to stand a chance in this game. 4 unconverted tries, can make it 3 if they are able to put those points on the board. 24 points to 5 means they are down by 19. And if anything, right now the Rugby Cranes are staring at, they've come from playing at 4 p.m. to 12 p.m. and now they will be looking at playing that very first kickoff at 10 a.m. should they not successfully win this one. Emiemu now to lead Uganda's comeback. Should there be enough time for them to put up a fight? Emiemu into the 22. Ofoiroth picks, carries it on his own. He's caught by Nabir Bouamane, and it's been stolen by the Moroccans. Pius Ogena chances on a loose offload. Ogena fighting, then brought into touch by the Moroccan defense. Possession to Uganda, possession to Morocco, possession back to Uganda, forced into touch, line out Morocco.
Yeah, Pius Ogena tried to be as strong and as stout as he could be, but he struggled there, and the big bodies of Morocco eventually threw him into touch. Another good phase of play. Emiemu could have did all he could to secure possession. Pass again, I believe, could have found his feet or found the turf. Again, the Uganda Rugby Cranes guilty of support being too far.
Haimisha hasn't made a mistake in this set piece since coming off the bench, throwing at 2, at 4, and at 6. Elifaze Bong has gone through the middle and he has his hands on the ball. It's going to be a successful contest from the big man. He says he has the ball. Line out, turns to maul, turns to turnover possession for the Rugby Cranes. Good effort from Elifaze Bong. The Rugby Cranes need some inspiration, and it's coming in from the big men.
Yep, Elifaze Bong doing very, very good defensive work there, and also seeking justification from the referee, who said his attempt was good. So he came through, and that then allows different players to come in and contest.
Brian Wandera will get his crack at it off the bench. Coming on for Pius Ogena. That means that Alex Aturinda goes to the number 8 position, and Brian Wandera goes to loose forward. Also being prepared to come on is Shakim Sembusi, the winger. It will mean there will be a couple of positional changes, as we shall confirm when the substitutions are made. But right now, back into play, 5 minutes on the clock for Uganda. The comeback looks like it is too late, to be honest, but maybe there's something to fight for, as Shakim Sembusi comes on for William Nkore, is it? For Timothy Chisiga. A bit of guesswork in this one. For Ian Munyani, rather. So Timothy Chisiga shifts to number 13, and Shakim Sembusi goes to the blindside wing, keeping Adrian Casito on the outside.
Yeah, that is change, possibly tactical, possibly giving Shakim Sembusi some game time, Brian Wandera as well, to see how they can fit into the setup, because it now means that the game against Cote d'Ivoire, if it comes to that, and there Timothy Chisiga breaking the first line, Philip Okorach with the dummy, the offload to Shakim does not get to go.
Uganda have their hands on the ball. They've won it back through Adrian Casito on that Jacko. Casito has won Uganda an advantage, as the players arriving at that breakdown were not releasing him.
Again,
charge forward from Colin Chimboa. Aaron Ofoiroth picks, goes to Wokorach. Wokorach sells the dummy and under the uprights. Is it too little, too late for the Rugby Cranes? Maybe there's still some time. Wokorach gets his double.
Yes, Philip Okorach, you know he will have tricks up his sleeve when it comes to open play. He has also added the extras of a drop kick with just over 5 minutes to the end of this game. There is some reprieve. There are points on the board for the Uganda Rugby Cranes. Is it too late? I said rugby is played up until the final whistle. It is played up until the fat lady sings. Good drive there by Collins Chimboa, who recycles it, and Aaron Ofoiroth then swings it wide for the big man, Philip Okorach. He is, of course, a player of very, very high standards.